Okay. Good morning, people. Today we are going to study the fifth module for fracture mechanics, and this will be the last class for this. So, in this lecture, we are going to cover the crack detection methods, how to detect the crack on the surface of any specimen or the given object. Okay, so for that, there are several processes to be gone through, in which some of these are the crucial things. So, let us start reading this. In certain crucial components such as space vehicles, airplanes, nuclear plants and dams, etc., online monitoring of defects is recommended. To achieve it, sophisticated technologies has been developed. Many of them uses large data handling capabilities of modern computers. These days, many non-destructive tests are available, from very simple to very sophisticated. This chapter discusses some of the commonly used non-destructive test methods. So, in this, we are going to study about the examinations through the human senses. Second, liquid penetration method, ultrasonic testing, radiography imaging, and the magnetic particle inspection. Okay, so let us see first the very first way of detecting the crack, that is examination through the human senses. Okay, how we are going to utilize our senses to detect the crack on any particular given surface. Okay, for that, first one is having visual inspection. Okay, so visual inspection, as the name suggests, by just seeing the hair crack or by just observing the uh, specimen, we can tell that there are some crack or some defects on the surface. Okay, so for that I'm going to read, you just listen. A human eyes is a marvelous device provided by nature. It is capable of detecting even minute changes in the intensity of light. For most crack detection, an initial cleaning of the surface is required. So what happened is, here it's given an example that there was a roll mill, all of which, when that through the roll mill, when the plates were rolled out, they found that there is subsumptions of the dirt and dust on the portion of the plate, because of which the because of the rough surface on the plate, the cracks started forming, or the cracks started initiating. So, as a periodic inspection, when the person went near to the rolling mill, he found that due to the non maintenance of the system, the dirt and dust submitted or formed on the surface of the plate, which results in the deposition and decomposition of the surface of that plate. Okay, so just by visually inspecting, he came to know that there is a minor crack or the minor defect on the surface of the plate. So, this is a simple way to determine the crack on the surface. Okay, this is a very usual or the very basic way of inspecting. An endoscope, okay, for that, if it is not so this is a simple example of that. If it is not possible also, sometimes we use lenses to do the same thing. Optical aids we use are used facilitating the detects of the crack. Most of these devices have their own light sources to properly illuminate the area under investigations. So normally we use the convex lenses to see it clearly or to magnify the things. Okay, so this is one of the, again, visual inspection only. So it keep on magnifying by 100 times, 500 times, or 1000 times, depend upon the requirement or the seriousness of the depth or the crack on the surface or in the system or in the specimen. Okay, in that, endoscopic is a more sophisticated optical device which has its own source of light, so that surface can be illuminated and scanned for the crack. Okay, the surface is adequately illuminated by the light carried through flexible optical fiber. Okay, so what we will do, it will just endoscope will just focus the light on that particular place, and in the modern system, it is having a sub miniature closed circuit camera also installed with that, so that whatever we are watching through the lens, through the magnifying glasses using the endoscope, it will also capture and it will also record for the future purpose. Okay, the picture are then carried back with the help of another set of optical fibers to a computer screen. You can see it in the computer screen, you can store also as well. So, because of high optical efficiency of optical fiber, an endoscope can view surface up to 4 or to 5 meters away. Okay, endoscope are usually useful for a wide range of applications, like detecting crack in the internal surface of boiler, pipes, reactors and heat exchangers, etc. Okay, so this is one of the way which we can detect the this is one of the type of the visual inspection through which we can detect the crack or some mishappening on the or in the interior surface of the system. Okay, so this was the first one. Second one, we will go with a investigation through hearing. Now how come the hearing can help us? So hearing is also one of the aid which we can use it for the investigation of the crack. For example, polymer composite laminates are initially investigated by a coin test. Okay, so what is the coin test? You are having a polymer composite laminate. You have to bang it or you have to tap the metal coin on the surface of a polymer composite metal. Okay, now the coin which you are tapping on the polymer composite laminates changes whenever interlaminar separation is present. That means when it is a when everything is okay, there is no crack, there is no discomfort or the dislocations of the laminates or the layers of the system, then the noise which travel from one end to the last end will be same. Okay, so once it reaches to the last end, then it when that noise will come back to you, it will come in the low frequency. Understood? What I am saying is, when a metal coin is tapped on the surface of polymer composite material, the noise of the tap changes whenever interlaminar separation is present. Okay, if there is no interlaminar change, mean there is no changes, then the sound waves goes all the way to the rear end or to the last point of that layer or to the last point of their polymer composite and return back. Thus take a long time to return. So it will return back in a long time. This corresponds to the low frequency noise, so that your frequency of the noise will be on the lower hand. Whereas, whereas whenever the interlaminar cracks are present, if suppose some discomfort or the dislocation of the laminar interlaminars are there, then the sound waves are refract from that surface of the interlaminar separation and return back early as giving a high frequency noise. So if you are feeling just doubt about this, let me have one small diagram to make it clear. Suppose this is your polymer composite laminate. Okay, so what you are doing is you are sending a wave. This is your metal coin. Suppose you are tapping a metal coin on the surface and there is no defect on this, no defect on the system, no defect on the system. For that, when you send the frequency from this initial point to the final point, it will reach, and from the final point to the initial point, it will come back. So since it is traveling the very long distance, that is from the initial point to the rear point or to the end point, and again from the end point to the initial point, it will take long time. Okay, and because of the this long time, the low frequency noise will come, the frequency of that noise will get reduced because of the taking long time, because t is inversely proportional to f. So taking long time, that's why frequency is low. Okay, now let us see the other case. Now in this same figure, if there is some defect here, suppose, okay, so now in this same system, if we have any defect, okay, the same system is there, and we have some defect here in this part. Okay, now what you are doing, you are tapping the same coin on the surface. But now when the frequency travels from this point and stop here, when the frequency traveled from this same coin point and to travel here, and as it touches that crack, and it will come back here. So now you can see there are two different cases. Earlier it traveled till the last rear and it came back. So in this case, when we talk about two different cases, so in this case the time taken will be much more than this one. Okay, so here on the second case, when we have the crack, in the second case, when we have this crack, because of this crack, the time traveling for the frequency will be for the sound frequency will be very less, and the time taken to retract back that sound will be very less. Okay, so we will get a high frequency sound. Time traveling is less, high frequency in sound. So based on that, it is clear that there is some defect available. Okay, so what is the conclusion? Conclusion through the listening or the hearing is, if there is no aid or no intrusion or no defects are there in between, then the time taking for traveling that sound till the rear and coming back will be more, and hence the noise of the frequency will be less. But if there is some defects, then it just strike that defect and coming back, the time taken will be less, and hence the frequency will be high. So through this also we will come to know that this is known as the investigation through the hearing. Okay, fine. So okay, so this is what I want to tell. Next things, third one come through the smell. So very good example in our own home is LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, which we have. So if it works normally, if there is no defect, if there is all things going well, then there will be no smell. If the LPG is having some problem or some defect, you can smell that leakage. Correct? So that is the detection of the mishappening through the smell. Correct? So same thing happens with a like big pressure cylinders. Design is usually made to have a leak before break. Before it break down, there must be a leak which they have intentionally built. Semi elliptical crack extends. So for that, what they do, semi elliptical crack extends mostly in depth from the internal surface toward the external surface. Okay, so a stage comes when this semi elliptical crack grows and become a through the thick crack. So the design is made in such a way that through the thick crack is not critical. However, there will be a leakage of gas or the liquid and the crack is detected. Okay, so in this way we can detect the leakage or the damage or the crack through the smell. Okay, so till here we have done the three types: through the smell, okay, through the smell, through the hearing, and through seeing, or through the visual inspection, visual, hearing, and smell. Now it comes to a fourth method. In this fourth method, we will study the little higher versions of the inspections. Okay, okay, so let us see this. uh, okay, for that let us have a real life example first, which is on your screen. I'm just reading it. I visited a steel plant which was making tube as one of the several products. Each tube was tested by first closing its end and then filling it with a liquid. The pressure of the liquid was increased to 30 to 40% higher than the design pressure. The pressure of the filled system was monitored with a pressure gauge of a specified time. Example 15 minutes to explore whether the pressure decreased. A flow through a leak will make the pressure drop fast as the liquid does not compress much, and even a small loss of liquid will decrease the pressure quickly. Some pressure difference tests are adopted for checking various systems. If a system stores high pressure gas, it its leakage is often detected by applying a soap water solution on the suspected place and watch the bubbles come out. Okay, so what do you understood by this example? This is also one of the way of detecting the pressure of a high pressure tube. So normally how much pressure that tube can bear, more than that 30 to 40% of liquid they will fill in it, and it will be filled for suppose 15 minutes. If they find out by some way like having barometer or some pressure difference uh, instruments, so what they find out is there is some pressure difference. If there is no pressure difference means all well. If there is some pressure difference in the system, that means there is some leakage in the system. That leakage, how they will find out? They will apply the soap water on that suspected places, and once they apply the water on that suspected places, because of the reaction of soap and the solution, the bubbles will come start forming. Okay, and that's how they will come to know like where is that place from where the leakage is there. Okay, so this is one of the kind. Let us see the next one. This is known as liquid penetration inspection. Okay, so as the name suggests, liquid is used for the inspection. So liquid penetration inspection is a simple technique for NDT, non-destructive testing, and is one of the most widely used technique. It detects cracks which are exposed to a surface. The technique can be used on the surface of a wide variety of material. It is quite reliable and is capable of identifying cracks of very small width, even crack of just a few microns. So how we are doing this? I will tell you in brief, you just listen. Okay? So suppose we will start with these four diagrams that will make you clear about the liquid penetration method. Okay, so we have taken one specimen something like this. Okay, so this is a thick crack having an opening on the surface but invisible. There is a crack on this surface which is invisible. Okay, so we don't know exactly what is the location of the crack, so it's a thin crack. Okay, now what we did, we applied a penetrant on the surface. Okay, so a penetrant is applied on the surface which enters into the cavity of this crack. So what we did, we applied some penetrant. For example, a very simple example which you can understand easily in your real life is, suppose I have applied any grease or any ink, red color ink, especially red color ink on the surface as a penetrant, and I left it for some time, so that that penetrant must spread throughout the crack surface. Okay, that's what I did. Next what I did is, next on the next one, I just wiped out or I just removed the penetrant from the surface, but still the crack is wiped out, but crack is still invisible. Okay, it's not so much visible, like very minute lines are visible but the spread is not visible. So for that I have done the fourth phenomena. And what is fourth phenomena? I again put the developer for that. Developer, at the as the name suggests, whatever little intrusion of the ink or the penetration has gone inside the crack will develop or will react or will come back frequently or nicely on the surface. So that's what we called it as a developer bring colored penetrant out of the crack cavity to make the crack look wider and visible. Okay, so spreading of developer brings color penetrant out of the crack cavity to make the crack look wider and visible. For that, it is very now it is crack is visibly visible and it is wider in nature. Okay, so let us do it again. Let us see it again. Okay, so first point is there is a thin crack in the first diagram A. I will read for you so that you can see here. A thin crack having an opening on the surface but it is invisible. Okay, for that I have applied the penetrant spread on the surface which entered in the cavity of the crack. The third one is the penetrant is wiped out, but the crack is still invisible. So to make it visible, what we did, we have applied the developer, which brings color penetrant out of the crack cavity and to make the crack look wider and visible. Okay, so this type of inspection with the help of the liquid is known as liquid penetration inspection. Okay, so if why it is known as liquid penetration inspection, because we are doing the inspection using the liquid as a penetration. Fine, understood. So you can read this in detail if you want to go through it. Okay, okay. Next one, the procedure in the detail it is described here. Fine. Okay. Next one is the crack observation. So crack observation is applicable if your crack is through the thin surface. Through in the sense from the top surface to the bottom surface completely it merges or it's having. Okay. So then the crack observation will come into play. Okay. I will read this for you. The crack should be observed in the bright daylight or in a well illuminated place. The wavelength of the red light lies between 0.63 and 0.76 micrometer, which is adequate for detecting most cracks. It is important to know that to identify a geometric features, it has to be greater than or equal to the lambda by 2. Where what is lambda? Lambda is nothing but wavelength of the light source. An analogy is that when a horse cross okay, so this is what it is. Okay, so the crack are then observed under the dark conditions. So however, okay, however, if the width of the crack is expected to be the quite small, the fluorescent dye is used in the penetrant in place of the red color. Fine. So the crack are then observed under the dark conditions using ultraviolet rays whose wavelength is subsequently smaller. Okay, and the range is from 0.35 um, to 0.4 micrometer. Fine. Okay, so now you can see on the screen the dye penetrant examination can be performed on a variety of material, ferrous and non-ferrous, metals, polymers, ceramic and glasses, etc. So it can be used for any kind of materials. Okay, ferrous, non-ferrous, polymers, ceramic and glasses, but it is not suitable for porous materials. Why? Because porous materials all already have an open surface. Okay, that's what it is written, because porous materials are having an open surface with light up and it would be difficult to identify the crack. For thin components, you just mind is this is only for the thin components we are talking about. Through the thickness crack are identified easily as the penetrant passes from the front free surface to the rear free surface. So this is what your specimen is there. Okay, there is one crack here. So for that, this is front surface, this is rear surface. If it is through for a thin surface, then this we can do. So to summarize, the liquid penetration inspection is expensive, inexpensive, simple to use, reliable, and versatile to inspect work components of many kind of materials, but it can detect only those cracks which are exposed on the surface. Okay, why? Because we are applying the penetrant on the surface itself. Okay, for fully embedded cracks, other non-destructive techniques should be used. Fine. For this also, inside in the sense, if it is a through or it can travel from the front to the rear surface, then only the liquid penetrants can be applied. Okay, so this is one of the condition we have. Okay, next we goes is for ultrasonic. So you know very well, ultrasonic means related something related to sound. Okay, so let us see this ultrasonic test. As I told you, when we are discussing about the coin procedure, uh, okay, so where we have discussed that point, hearing, as we have discussed about when we are discussing about this hearing coin test. Okay, so hearing again goes same with the ultrasonic test. Again here also it plays the same thing, the sound role. So same thing it is going to discuss. Okay, so it is applicable for many kind of materials such as metal, polymers, wood, ceramic, polymer composites, etc. Okay, it is a non-destructive testing, non-invasive, simple, inexpensive, and very versatile technique. It is capable of detecting fully embedded cracks as well as the surface crack. Ultrasonic detections are now made very compact and can be easily taken to the inspect defect in the team. Okay, so what is the principle behind that? The thing which I told you is same. So let us see that. So okay, so here it has given the same what do you say as example instead of what here it has explained. I will tell you. So here it's telling like you have a wall something like that, and you have a small probe here. What is probe is like it's a system which can send the ultrasonic waves, or which can produce the ultrasonic waves and which can catch back that sound after traveling. Okay, so what happened is it's telling is one simple thing. Okay, so what happened is earlier this uh, probe ultrasonic probe is sending the signal from this point to this wall, and it catches back that same frequency from this to this back, and it has noted down the time. So this is the ideal time for that sound to travel and retract back. Suddenly, in this between the probe and the wall, suddenly in between probe and the wall, here came the thief. Okay, so what happened now? When the thief is there, then and the probe is sending the signal, but it cannot reach to the wall. Till here only it can reach, and it has to come back to the probe. Now it has found that the sound has come earlier than the stipulated time. Okay, so that is what it is written here. Ultrasonic test is similar to the searchlight being used to locate a thief. If there is no thief, the light get reflected from a wall across the street. In the case there is a thief, the light can be reflected from the thief as well as from the wall. So in case of, okay, so this is what it is written here. So that's what we are going to discuss in detail. Okay, so let us go little deep into the technical aspect. Okay, this is what is the practical aspect we are talking about. If we go little deep into the practical I mean to say theoretical aspect, let us see what happened. So there are several kind of stress waves in a material, but two are prominent. So there are usually two kind of waves are there. One is longitudinal, or we called it as a primary tube. One is known as a longitudinal wave, and the second one is known as the secondary wave. So this is the longitudinal, or known as the or no this is known as the primary wave, and in which the particle moves in the direction of the energy propagation. So if we talk about this our example, so in this example this is known as the primary waves. And second one is known as the shear waves or the secondary waves, in which particle moves normal to the direction of propagation. Normal to the direction of propagation, if we talk about, then again it comes like, you understand, if this is the normal, then it will go in this direction. So this is known as a secondary wave which travels. So usually we denote it by C1 and C2. So which is going just the way which we want it to move, or the way in which it's traveling in a primary way, that is C1, and normal to that waves is known as C2. Okay, understood. So when it is traveling towards the longitudinal direction means on the same direction, this is known as C1. And when it is traveling to the, suppose this is traveling in this direction, this is known as primary wave. And when it is traveling in this direction, normal to the primary wave, it is known as secondary wave. So primary wave is denoted by C1 and secondary wave is denoted by C2. So the formula for the primary wave normally we give is root over E by uh, rho, and for the secondary one we give root over G by rho. So as normally we know the value of E is always greater than G. So because of that, we know that, like, okay, what is E and G, by the way? So E is greater than G, if I write. So E is nothing but your Young's modulus, and G is known as the shear modulus. Correct, if you remember. So you know, and of course rho is the density. Okay, okay, so it depends upon Young's modulus divided by density, and this is known as shear modulus divided by density. So C1 will always be greater than, if I talk about this, then C1 will be greater than C2. Now if you talk about this, means why, the reason is this, because E is larger than G. Fine. So okay, these are the things, just a little theory we have to understand. And yeah, basically a majority of the ultrasonic tests are done through the primary waves only, and secondary are used for some special applications. Okay, secondary waves are normally used for some special applications, and primary wave velocity in the steel is quite high. Okay, so yeah, this two type of sound waves we can send for the system. Okay. Okay, so let us see the proof for that, how it works. So it's very easy, as you can see on the on the screen. In ultrasonic testing, a bunch of stress waves pulses are sent. So this is nothing but through the probe, some of the pulses will generate and it will travel with a very high frequency on the surface of a workpiece by a probe as shown in the figure. The frequency of the pulse bunch is high, usually at the range of 0.5 to 15 megahertz. This frequency is much higher than our capability of hearing, whose upper limit is only 0.02 megahertz. Okay, thus ultrasonic testing is inaudible to the human ears. Most of the stress waves of a pulse bunch reflects back from the rear face of the work, as we have discussed already, since there is an air beyond it, and very little energy is transmitted to air particles. Okay, in fact, for wave propagating in solid and liquids, the air can be regarded as vacuum. Right? So the reflected pulses are received back by the probes, as I told you. As I told you earlier, it will send the signal from here, and again it will come back to the probe only. Pulses back to the probe only. Okay, and are quite weak in magnitude. So because of traveling the long distance, the magnitude of the pulses or the waves will become very weak. The probe send them to an instrument for amplification and processing. Since it is very weak in magnitude, we cannot measure it. So before understanding the pulses, before making it any conclusion from this, we will send those pulses to the amplifier and for processor to amplify those signals or those pulses. Okay, now this is the normal condition. So now suppose there is some defect here, there's some defect here, then if defect exists in the workpiece, the bunch is reflected from the defect with a shorter flight time. Okay, so as soon as it will, you can see here, the again the pulses came from the probe and it went immediately, went back to the probe. So time taken of traveling this distance is very less. Okay, so the frequency will be very high, so that will be again caught by your probe. Okay, this we have actually already studied when we have tested about the hearing inspection, about the coin test. It is same thing we are doing in a proper manner. Okay, okay. So this is how it works. So you can see here the bunch of high frequency pulses. A, B is a probe transmitting high frequency. We are transmitting on the high frequency pulses to a workpiece and receiving reflection from the rear surface and a defect. It's written clearly, probe transmitting high frequency pulses to a workpiece and receiving reflection from the rear surface and a defect. Okay, so nothing new. This we have already discussed. So if you want to read more about the like how amplitude works, how we are going to increase the frequency, study it very well. You can study in detail what is the probe and all. Okay, fine. Okay, so now yeah. Now we will see crack propagation. This is one of the last topic of your syllabus, and this we have actually already discussed in chapter number 3 in when we are studying about the variation of the crack propagation. Okay, various stages of the crack propagation. If you remember, various stages of the crack propagation, in which we have studied the three stages, and the second one is known as the Paris law. So here again they have discussed about the Paris law. If you remember, dA by dN equals to, I will show you that equation. This is nothing but your, okay, so this is nothing but your Paris equation. So again they have discussed here little about that. dA by dN is equal to C into del K M. If you remember, if not, I will discuss it again here little bit so that you just remind it back. Okay, so crack propagation, the crack propagation rate dA by dN depends on del K and the stress ratio R, and it can be expressed in this form. So that we have discussed the last time is this one. Okay, so now you will ask me what is all those representation. If you have forgot, if you don't remember, we will just discuss it once, just we will see it one more time. So dA by dN, where what is dA, what is dN, let us see this. Okay, so here, okay, so here when we talk about dA is a, you know, 2a is the length of the crack. So here the variation of crack, and what is n? Variation of crack with respect to the cyclic load. Variation of crack with respect to the rate of cyclic load is the function of del K. What is del K? Intensity factor and the stress ratio. So we talk about, this is the dA by dN is the function of del K and the R. So we have seen so many graph between these two. Okay, so okay, the results are empirical or semi-empirical. For many materials, dependency on dA by dN or R is not very significant, especially in the region second, where we have seen, if you remember, again I'm saying second region is known as the Paris law. In that we have seen this. So Paris law, when we talk about, it is dA by dN is directly function of del K. Okay, so we have plotted the graph. In x-axis we have del K, and that is intensity factor, versus in y direction dA by dN. So when we have done something like this, then we found the three stages of system. This was stage 1, where there is a threshold energy which has to be clear to go to the second stage. This is known as the second stage. this one, which is also known as the Paris stage. Okay, and this is the last stage where suddenly change will happen with the del K. Okay, so let us see what is the Paris law and all. So we'll go down and we'll check the equation is already existing here. Okay, so when we talk about a Paris law, this is all what I want to tell you. So yeah, this is the Paris law. dA by dN is equal to C into del K into M. And what is C? C is the material constant. And what do you mean by material constant? It is telling that the uh, type of the specimen which we are using, the parameters which we are influencing of the material, that is nothing but the material constant. That means its length, width, height of the specimen, what is the particular value of that is specimen, what is the value of Young's modulus of that is specimen. So all those constants combined, constant combined together will give you the value of C. Okay, whereas del K, you know, that is intensity factor. And what is M? M is nothing but the slope, which we will get in only stage 2. Here we are not talking about all, we are talking about just the stage 2 here. When I showed you second stage, so the slope of the Paris law is known as M. So you just remember one thing, that M, this M value, or you can tell as this slope value varies between 2 to 7. Okay, 2 to 7 it varies. So for a particular material, it depends. For every metals, it will be of the different values. Okay, so for example, let us see some of the dA by dN relation or the Paris equation for the systems. Okay, so for example, ferrite, perlite, steel, if it is there, then this is your nothing but the constant value, material constant, what we called it as. It is a combination of all kind of constant which a material possess. Understood? Length, width, height, its material properties, whatever it is. And this is the slope. Slope must always vary between 2 to 7. Okay, and for martensite steel, it is something like this. This is A value, this is K value, M value. Okay, so it keep on changing for the different materials. You can see this is for martensite, stainless steel, cast iron, aluminum alloy. So it will keep on changing for each material. Understood? So yeah, this is the unit for your del K, megapascal per meter. It is worthwhile to discuss the Paris law further for obtaining an expression for the crack propagation life NP. Okay, so now this all rest, if you want to discuss in detail, we have already done in chapter 3. Still, if you want to go through this, you can have a working with it. Okay, just go through back to the chapter 3 and you will come to know. Okay, so again, a quick revision for what we have done for this period. Okay, so uh, we have done the lecture. I have done the lecture today on the topic of uh, crack detection. In crack detection, we have done the examination through the human senses. When I talk about the human senses, the first thing which I have covered is examination through the human senses. First one is visual inspection. So through visually, how you can see the defects and you can point out, and you can go deep into it by using the lenses, by using the convex lens, then throwing the light on it, and then capturing it into the camera and recording it for your further future inspections. And for that, it is endoscope is used for studying it into the detail. Okay, then we have seen through the investigation through hearing. So there is a coin method that we have studied, that whenever there is a travel of the sound from one end to the last end, and coming back of that sound, or the wave or the pulses, whenever it come back, so the time taken is inversely proportional to the frequency. That means if the time taken from one point to the another point, and the same it comes back to the initial point, then the time taken will be very less. Sorry, time taken will be very high and the frequency will be very less. But if in between some mishappening is there, some crack is there, some obstacle is there, then when it the pulses or the waves touches that crack and it comes back, then the time taken will be very less, and the same time the frequency will be on very higher side. Okay, so this is the investigation through the hearing. Then we have done through the smell. I told you about the LPG gases and all, and the big and thick cylindrical high pressure cylinders. They intentionally make some features, add-on features like semi-elliptical crack devices and all, through which it will just throw out the smell to the surface, so that instead of getting the whole system busted, that leakage will happen of the gas or the liquid, so you can understand that there is some crack or some defect on the surface. Okay, then we have studied about liquid penetrations. For that we have seen this diagram. So in this diagram we have seen that there is a crack on the surface. Okay, this is only applicable, this principle liquid penetration inspection is completely only for the surface inspection. Okay, so surface it is there. So for that what we did, we just apply some penetrant, and given time to spread it nicely on the surface and fill the cavity on the surface. And then on the third stage we just wiped out the penetrant, and then also it is still invisible, it's not so clearly visible that what is the branching of that crack or how it is traveling, how it is spreading out. So for that, to make it very much clear, what we did is on the fourth stage we just added the developer or the color on the that penetrant to bring that crack cavity and to make it visible. Okay, so this is liquid penetrant method. Fine. Then we have seen about the crack observation. So now this is the second way in which your crack is through. Through in the sense it is having a thin plate which is the through hole or through, sorry, crack. That means from the front surface to the back surface. Okay. So yeah, in this also liquid penetrant can be used. Okay, through the thick crack are identified easily and the penetrant passes from the front free surface to the rear free surface. Okay, so uh, this is only this its drawback is that it is only those crack which are exposed on the surface. For fully embedded crack and other non-destructive technique can be used. Okay, next we have ultrasonic, that what we have discussed with the point system. So it is clearly mentioned here that two type of waves are traveling from the probe. First one is known as longitudinal, second one is known as perpendicular to that or normal in the direction. For same direction we called it as a primary waves, and the waves which travel in the perpendicular direction is known as secondary wave. Primary waves are much more stronger than the secondary wave, because primary wave is root over E by rho, and secondary wave is root over G by rho. So E is greater than G, or Young's modulus is greater than the shear modulus. That's why the primary waves are much more used in the practical usage than the secondary waves. Only for some special places or some special conditions only we are using the secondary waves. So this is the diagram which we have seen. If you remember, so diagram A is nothing but the bunch of high frequency pulses we are generating. We are generating it through the probes, you can see here. So if there is no defects and all, it goes to the last rear and comebacks, so it will take long time to travel, and hence the frequency will get decreased. But if there is some defect, as soon as it touches the defect, immediately it will come back. So in this case, the time taken by the waves is very less, and hence the frequency will be very high. Okay, so but that waves which comes back is having very low frequency, and it is little difficult to understand those waves. For that we are using the amplifiers and the different processing system to magnify that or to enhance that frequency to be understood. Okay, so this is the probe and all if you want to do. And last thing which we have discussed is crack propagation, that we have already studied in chapter 3. in this we have little in detail we have is Paris law. If I talk about Paris law, which is happening in the second stage, it is known as the second stage of various stages. We have studied that in the various stages of crack propagation, and in that second stage is known as the Paris law. That graph is drawn between dA by dN in the y-axis, whereas del k in the x-axis. So when we have seen the Paris law, this is known as the Paris law, dA by dN equal to C into del k by m. So dA by dN is change in the crack length with respect to the cyclic load is equal to the material constant into stress intensity factor into m. M is the slope of the curve in the second stage. Okay, so for that we have studied for the different kind of materials, different kind of materials, yes, all are having the different values. Okay, but for that, for all the values C and M are constant. So you can see here if we talk about a ferrite, perlite steel or martensite steel, for that C and M value will always be constant. So if you just vary uh, del k or you vary dA by dN, you are going to get the del k value. Okay, so we have seen similarly for the Ortenside steel, stainless steel, cast iron, aluminum alloy, and all. So this is what all about this thing. And if you have any doubt, again further you can ask me. And this is the end of chapter 5. So before that also initiation of surface and all we have studied, like how it affects, what is the procedure of finding out the crack, and different procedures. Then we have studied what is the effect of the thickness of the specimen on the system, what is the effect of temperature, what is the effect of loading giving the cyclic load and all. So this is all about your fifth module. It's very easy. Go through that. Any doubt is there, just ask me. Okay. Thank you, people. Have a nice day.